This is a review that nobody cares about of the Moto X4 in 2019. The Moto X4 was Motorola's upper mid-range budget phone, and it packs a lot of features, especially considering it was launched over 2 years ago. It has a 1080p 16:9 display, one speaker for both speakerphone and headset duty and music, a front-facing flash and camera, a fingerprint sensor, dual mics, headphone jack and USB-C, dual cameras, a wide angle and a standard, with a dual LED flash, and then 3 buttons on the side. The physical feel of the phone is pretty good. It won't quite match up to a flagship, even something like a Samsung S7, but you still have glass on the front and back and aluminum around the sides. So it will feel solid in the hand, although the edges will be a tiny bit rougher than a flagship. The textured power button is very nice to feel, and it helps differentiate it from the volume buttons quite a lot. As far as the rest of the design, there is a slight camera hump, so a case might be recommended, and you can see that it will leave lots of fingerprints. The fingerprint sensor is extremely fast and will pick up on even the slightest tap. So just a very brief tap that would confuse an S7 would instantly unlock an X4. The other nice feature of the X4 that I like the most are the gestures. With the screen off or on, you can give the phone a double chop to turn on the flashlight. Even a very quick, rapid shake will sometimes work. The other gesture is that you can rotate the phone twice to launch the camera. The camera's quality itself is mediocre. Comparing it to my old S7, the S7 can pull a lot more detail out from the shadows. However, having a wide-angle option is fantastic. That lets you see that much more. Do know that the camera does a lot of over-sharpening of the images, so they're not very good for anything besides posting directly to social media. There's a Google Lens button in the camera viewfinder, and there is a manual mode that unfortunately does not directly support shooting in RAW or DNG format. Just the usual manual settings that you expect from a phone these days. Going to the gallery, annoyingly, kicks you over to the separate Photos app. There are other Moto features in here, not too many. As you saw, there was an FM radio. There's Moto Display, which I disabled because it will activate a bit too much for my liking. Night Display will add the yellowish tint, but it doesn't get very yellow. It's very light tint that for me isn't enough. There are some other gestures, for example, swiping downwards to shrink the screen. So if I get that to activate, there we go. But the shrinking the screen gesture happens too often for me, so I had to turn that off, even though I like it. The 16:9 display definitely won't compare to a 18:9 display. It will feel a little bit short, and the bezels will make it feel cramped. The software buttons will also make that worse. This is the Android One edition made for Google Fi that I bought from B&H Photo for their $150 sale in early March 2019. For that price, it's fantastic. It works with all major US carriers. It has Wi-Fi calling, which, it isn't active right now. Oh, no SIM. And it will support VoLTE, so if you're on T-Mobile, you won't be stranded in the basement of a building where you can receive data but not be able to make calls. This is Nova Launcher. The rest of the system is stock. There is a dark mode that extends the notification shade, but not settings, which is unfortunate. There's not too much in the settings. There's an option to hold the fingerprint sensor to lock, but unlike the stock Moto X4, you can't enable one button nav that lets you hide the nav bar and then just make swipe and tap gestures on the button to navigate through Android. That I missed a lot. This also doesn't have the Bluetooth 5 app that the stock Moto X4 does. The retail is what it's called. That the retail Moto X4 has, that lets you play Bluetooth sound to multiple devices at once, so you can network together different speakers. I'll continue with my software impressions with a second part of this video.